Awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We are really excited to have this amazing group of well-rounded panelists join us for this afternoon's session. And a big thank you to all the attendees that are joining us from all around the area. My name is Dr. Veronica Ajewole. I am a clinical pharmacist by training, and I have the privilege of being the principal investigator and the program director for the CPRIT-funded Texas Southern University's Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center. We are joined this afternoon with an amazing group of panelists that I will be introducing to you all shortly. But let me go ahead and share my slides here so I can just share some incoming announcements before we introduce our panelists. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Okay, once again, we are funded by CPRIT, which is the Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Texas. And we bring you greetings from the Texas Southern University's Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center. Today's webinar is a question that I am hopeful and very convinced that our group of panelists will be able to shed some insight on. And we have titled our webinar "Is Screening Mammogram a Painful Experience?" So over the next hour, we will be diving into that topic and answering these questions and even any more additional questions that you might have. Texas Southern University's Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center, we are funded by CPRIT, and we offer convenient, no-cost screening and diagnostic mammogram to ethnic minority women who are uninsured or underinsured, living in Aris, Grimes, Matagorda, Walker, and Wharton County. We provide patient navigation and barrier reduction services to enable patients receive their screening. We also provide breast cancer awareness and education, just like we are doing this afternoon. For more information, you can scan the QR code if that's convenient for you. You can send us a text message. You can give us a call, 713-313-4424, or you can send us an email, breastcenter@tsu.edu. We are also posting these links in the chat box, so if that is easier, either way, you will be able to reach out to us and connect with us so we can share additional information with you regarding the services that we provide. Again, we welcome you. Thank you for joining. We will have an opportunity for question and answers at the end of the session. So please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A box. We will be answering those questions as we go. And if there are any specific questions to be asked of the panelists, we will make time at the end of today's presentation for our panelists to answer those questions for you. We also want to say a big thank you to the NIH-NCI Center to Reduce Cancer Health Disparity Grant. This is a $2.4 million award that we received at Texas Southern University. I have the privilege of being the principal investigator for that program alongside my colleague at Baylor College of Medicine, Rain Rouse, who is the PI from Baylor College of Medicine. And really, this is the only grant that was funded in the United States this cycle. So we're really excited to be leading this initiative that we have titled the P20 Partnership Collaborative Union for Cancer Research, Education, and Disparities. And through this award, we are collaborating between Baylor College of Medicine and TSU for cancer research, education, community outreach, providing training, promoting a diverse biomedical research workforce, and supporting a pipeline of collaborative, innovative cancer research pilot projects. So it really takes an amazing team of multidisciplinary, multi-talented individuals from TSU as well as from Baylor College of Medicine, implementing this P20 Cured program that we have going on at TSU. We also want to say a big thank you to TIL, who is partnering with us for today's program. TIL is under the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center that recently launched the Texas Health Equity Alliance for Breast Cancer, which we call TIL, which is a community-wide healthcare initiative to reduce breast cancer disparities in the Houston area, particularly among Black women. TIL builds upon the expertise of MD Anderson's Department of Health Disparities Research in addressing the determinants of cancer disparities while leveraging the cancer prevention and control platforms experience in leading cross-sector collaboratives for community impact. So a big thank you to TIL, big thank you to Dr. Lona McNeil, as well as the whole group from MD Anderson for collaborating with us on this initiative. And as part of our group today, we have our goalmate, Ms. Fuller, who is going to tell us a little bit about TIL. I will be introducing her shortly for her to be able to tell us a little bit about TIL. But thank you, TIL, for partnering with us on this initiative. Just a few more housekeeping information. We are funded by CPRIT, the Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Texas. As part of that initiative, we would like for the attendees to please complete the survey. We have the survey link that is posted in the chat box. We really need your feedback to tell us how we did during today's webinar, and also to let us know what other topics you would like us to talk about, or what any additional services that you would like us to provide in the community. For as many individuals that have joined us today who are community health workers, we would like for you to please complete the sign-in sheet and also the evaluation, so that way we can issue the continuing education credits for you as a CHW. Also, we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of information on how to request service, how you can partner with us. All that information can be found if you scan the QR code on the screen. And the link on this screen is also being posted in the chat box. So please feel free to click on that link to access the survey, complete your CHW sign in, and have access to all the other resources that we are offering at Texas Southern University's Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center. Okay, thank you again for joining us. Over the next 50 minutes or so, we would have the privilege of sharing, a free-flowing conversation on this topic titled, "Is Screening Mammogram a Painful Experience?" Right before we go into that, I would like to bring up Ms. Goldmate Fuller. Goldmate Fuller is a seasoned public health practitioner with a specialty in health promotion and community health practice. She is an alum of Florida State University and the University of Texas State of Public Health. Ms. Fuller is the program director for the Cancer Health Disparities at MD Anderson Cancer Center, and she's responsible for leading the implementation of the Texas Health Equity Alliance for Breast Cancer, which is an acronym of TIL. TIL was launched in 2023 to reduce the Black-white disparity in
This meeting is being recorded.
In Harris County within the next 5 years and eliminate it within the next 15 years. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming up Ms. Fuller. Ms. Fuller, over to you. Would you like me to run your slides, Ms. Fuller?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Slide and then I'll move.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Gilmat, and I'm so glad to just take a little bit of your time in your conversation today to share a little bit more about the Texas Health Equity Alliance for Breast Cancer. Next slide. So why Houston, why now? So many of this conversation started back in 2020 during the COVID era, and during when we saw a lot of unrest between Black-white disparities, and a lot of injustices or conversation around injustices in social justice, health, housing, all of these conversations that were happening in the early 2000s. And so that also spared some conversation internally as well about the ongoing disparity we notice between Black and white women with regard to their breast cancer mortality. So one of the things around Harris County is that with respect to screening, we saw the data was showing that Black women was pretty much on par with getting their screenings. However, we saw very wide differences in their mortality rate as well. So with us at MD Anderson and amongst our partners as well, we wanted to understand why, and we also wanted to do something about it. So we have a goal of reducing this disparity within the next 15 years or so by half, but we wanted to do some work within the next 5 years or so to decrease that mortality. Now, we do have some good examples of this approach working. We saw this happening in Chicago and Boston and Philadelphia. So what we did in the early onset of this initiative is to take some lessons learned from them. So we talked to these individuals. We looked at Chicago. We looked at Boston to see what worked well. And some of the key themes that came up from those conversations was, well, we have to all work together. There must be a collective effort amongst all the health system, amongst all of the community partners to have a central vision and mission around health disparities and health equity. We have to do work around screening or access to screening and diagnostic services, and there has to be a mechanism in place to share data to inform the way we make decisions. Next slide, please. So with that, we not only did we speak to other areas or other cities that was doing this work, but we also wanted to have a better understanding of what's going on in Houston. So we held a number of different stakeholder convenings, different interviews. We also leveraged a lot of the work that Susan G. Komen was doing around health, around understanding the health equity landscape in Houston. And we saw 4 key themes from those convenings. One is racism. The second was lack of culturally competent care. The third was biological factors, just different misunderstandings around family history, predisposition to different forms of aggressive cancer. And the fourth one was social drivers of health, just the daily needs that people encounter that may inhibit their ability to seek care. So from that conversation, 4 themes came of where we can drive action. Those came from patient navigation. So we understand that the healthcare system can be very complex, very challenging for people to understand where to go, what to apply for. So having a dedicated individual to navigate you is key to that process. Cost was another theme. Just different type of programming and initiatives that can reduce out-of-pocket costs to individuals. Simplifying the process, improving the quality of the experience at the clinic and also at different stages in the care continuum model. And then lastly, education, both for the community and patients, but also for providers as well. Next slide. So with that, birthed the Texas Health Equity Alliance for Breast Cancer. This is a multi-sector collaborative that is focused exclusively on reducing breast cancer disparities in the greater Houston area. We are leveraging tools such as cross-sector collaboration, system strengthening, and aligned multilateral impact. Now we're doing this with 3 aims. The first one is to have a shared vision for health equity. The second is to leverage data that we have to use that to make decisions to reduce health disparity. And the third is to do what we know works right now. So that is implement evidence-based actions that can support Black women going through the process right now. And we're able to do this with 3 philanthropic partners, and those are Bristol Myers Squibb Foundation, the Cullen Trust for Healthcare, and a private family donor of Erica Klein Breast Cancer Fund. Next slide. And with this, we have a model that we know works, that we leverage from some of our past initiatives. And I like to call this an onion because it is a layered approach. The first is to have a very strong and supportive governance structure. This is through our backbones, which includes TSU. And our backbone is assigned to develop the vision, advance the mission for health equity, and that is going to be trickled down through the rest of the layers as well. We also have a steering committee body, which forms this ecosystem of shared learning for both the backbone, but also for the initiative as well. The next layer is data, to truly understand how we can share data, how we can share tools to drive decision-making, how we can leverage each other for technical assistance, different working groups and dashboards that can make data easily accessible for all of us so we can make informed decisions. The next is to curate a portfolio of evidence-based actions around those key themes that our community shared that were priority to them. And those were patient navigation, quality improvement, access to care, and those non-medical drivers, as well as patient education. Next slide. And we just want to acknowledge our backbone, because without them, none of this work is possible. And that includes MD Anderson, TSU, University of Houston, Angel Surviving Cancer, Harris Health System, UT School of Public Health Center for Healthcare Data, as well as UT Center for Health Communication. Next slide. So I want to share with you all where we're at in the process right now. So we're still at the very beginning, but we're in the planning phases. So if you can see that circle of that red box, so we are in the process of our request for collaborators. So we're trying to get projects from the community, different partners that can address those 4 aims that we talked about: patient navigation, QI, and all of those like. So we started that process in January. So we're at the tail end of it. So by the beginning of June, we will be announcing the first round of projects that will be funded by T-HEAL that can address breast cancer disparities for Black women in the Houston area. So we're very excited about that. And we look forward to those projects to begin implementation in early September. Next slide. So a little bit about the request for collaborative process. It's not a grant, so this is a very intentional process to really talk with organization, understanding their capacity, understanding their priorities, and having them committed to implementing a project that can support the vision of this initiative. So this will bring funding, resources, connections to really amplify their capacity to successfully implement their projects, and to be actually drive a lot of the changes, a lot of the system changes that we need to address the root causes of disparity in the Houston area. So we look forward to the first round, and we anticipate the lessons learned from this round will inform the second round of projects as well. Next slide. So the projects that some of the themes of the project we will receive this cycle includes patient navigation, working with community health workers, looking at systems reminders for appointments, culturally adaptive care, different projects that supports reducing barriers and out-of-pocket costs to women, and things related to group education, small media. So you'll see a variety of projects that all interlink together that will all address some of those root causes we see that can support Black women in the Houston, Harris County area. So we're very excited about these projects. We're even more excited that they're all evidence-based. So meaning that there is a very strong possibility that it'll work, and it'll start to amplify change in the Houston area. Next slide. So what do we have to look forward to? Starting in early June, we'll be announcing the first round of funded projects. We will be having some smaller groups that are focused exclusively on certain areas like health communication, evaluation, and data. We will be studying to learn more about the existing landscape of Houston to see how can we share data to make decisions. And then lastly, we want to continue to grow our steering committee body. So this is where you all can get involved, right? We want to hear and get input from local advocates, individuals, local providers, the business community, the faith-based community. Everyone has a place and a voice to support the T-HEAL initiative. As I mentioned earlier in my first slide, it has to be a very collective approach to this kind of work. So although it's a healthcare initiative, it is still grounded in community practice. So we do need the voice of everyone involved, everyone in the community to weigh in so we can have the most impact possible. So this is where you come in. Next slide. And please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm very easily accessible. You can find me on LinkedIn, but you can also email me directly at this contact, breast cancer disparities, HSS @mdanderson.org. I'll leave it in the chat. But I would love for you all to contact me if you have a desire to get involved, or if you would just like to stay updated on what's going on with the projects. We're very excited about this approach, and we always welcome more and more individuals to be involved. So thank you all. Thank you for your time, and thank you to the team for having me share with you all what's going on with the Texas Health Equity Alliance for Breast Cancer. I flip the floor back to you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gilmate. I appreciate your overview on TIL, and TSU is really, really blessed to be part of the backbone partners for the TIL initiative. So now it will be my pleasure to start introducing our amazing group of experts, panelists, as we dive into this topic or this question of is screening mammogram a painful experience? The first panelist that we have joining us this afternoon is Donna Franklin. Donna Franklin is a known voice. She is currently the host of Colors, Smooth Jazz program, had Mondays through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. She is the program director for the Choice 90.9 KTSU. And here is a little bit of history about, the history behind that voice of the one and only Donna Franklin. She started a radio career in 1993 in Cincinnati, Ohio. She worked for an R&B oldies station during the week and country station, Good Times, Great Country B105 on the weekends. In August of 1999, she moved to the great city of Houston, Texas with her family, and she became the host of Smooth Jazz Saturday Night on Sunny 99.1 from August 1999 to June 2003. To our delight and to Houston's delight, a new full-time jazz station emerged called Smooth Jazz 95.7 The Wave, where she enjoyed being the morning, weekend, and evening host for almost 6 years. Now, come around in October 2008, she started a career at a public radio station, KTSU Radio, on the campus of the one and only Texas Southern University. Donna has 2 beautiful daughters with master's degree, living their lives to the fullest. Enjoyment comes from passing the torch, teaching our skills to those who are interested in the business of broadcasting. There is still more work to be done, and it's not over. Thank you so much, Donna, for joining us this afternoon and for sharing your expertise with the group. Thank you. Okay, next panelist here this afternoon is our very own Dr. Shelita Anderson. Dr. Anderson is an oncology certified nurse with more than 2 decades of successful experience in healthcare, leadership, and nurse empowerment. She has a doctorate degree in nursing practice and a master's degree in business administration. Shelita is an oncology certified nurse and has a nurse executive advanced certification. She worked for the Harris County Hospital District for over 9 years, caring for indigent patients, and currently works for Memorial Hermann Health System as the System Oncology Patient Care Director. Shelita oversees oncology clinical nursing, nurse navigation, and survivorship. Shelita leads the Health Equity Division for a service line, and she is an advocate for underserved women related to breast cancer screening, addressing knowledge gaps, health literacy, and mammogram screening. Dr. Anderson developed culturally relevant education for African-American women on breast cancer screening used to educate those in the community. Thank you very much, Dr. Anderson, for joining us. Dr. Anderson is also one of our steering committee members for the Texas Southern University's breast cancer screening and prevention center. So we're really, really delighted to have you join us this afternoon. Our next panelist here is no one else but Miss Brittany Weston. Miss Brittany Weston is a radiology technologist that specializes in mammography and a certified breast sonographer. She has been performing mammograms for over 5 years and breast ultrasound for 3 years at the Rose Breast Center, where she is currently the lead mammographer. In this role, she trains other technologists as well as students in mammography and positioning. She is an advocate for breast cancer screening, as a mother and grandmother are both breast cancer survivors. Ms. Weston, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and a big thank you and shout out to the leadership of the Rose. The Rose has been a strong partner of us at TSU since 2018, when we started out with the Susan G. Komen grant, and our relationship and collaboration has been growing stronger, and we have been able to do so much in the community alongside the Rose. So thank you, the Rose, and thank you, Ms. Weston, for joining us this afternoon. Our next panelist today is no one else but Ms. Deborah Davis. Ms. Davis has been a registered radiologist technologist since 1995. That tells you a lot of experience, right? And she then specialized in mammography in 1996. She has been leading technologists at MD Anderson Cancer Center here in Houston for 24 years. With a cumulative 25-year experience as a mammographer, she started teaching mammography continuing education course and has been performing mammography consulting for 18 years. Deborah currently is a medical educator at the UT School of Health Professions at MD Anderson Cancer Center bachelor's program, where she teaches the 40-hour initial mammography training curriculum and preparation for the ARRT registry. She completed a Master's of Science in Radiologic Science degree at the UT School of Health Professions in 2021. She travels around the United States to help guide accreditation process and yearly inspections. She is passionate about breast health and shares her experience and knowledge to help fight the battle against breast cancer. So thank you, Ms. Davis, for joining us this afternoon. And with that, I will stop sharing my screen and I will bring up stage all our amazing panelists. It is so good to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon as we begin this real free-flowing conversation about, answering the question, is screening mammogram a painful experience? Ms. Franklin, please let me start with you, okay? You're going to be the first person to answer this question today. So for the benefit of our online audience, to get some perspective about you and what, your experience, how long have you been getting mammogram and what motivates you, to do your mammogram screening on a consistent basis? Oh, we don't have your audio, Miss Franklin. I see you are unmuted, but we cannot hear you. I see you talking, but we still can't hear you. Thank you, audience, for your patience. Sometimes we have to wiggle around a bit with technology, okay? Okay, we still can't hear you, Ms. Franklin. Maybe you're able to switch to a different device or something. In the interest of time, I would move along to another panelist and circle back around. Sounds good? Thank you, Ms. Franklin, and thank you to the audience. Dr. Anderson, I will go over to you. So in your research, which, based on your bio, it's apparent that you've done a lot of extensive work, in this aspect. Um, do you see women not going for mammogram due to fear, due to, what barriers, what are the challenges that women has expressed to you regarding their concern for not, keeping up with their annual mammograms?
Yes, absolutely. In the community, I do a lot of work with the women, sitting with them, talking to them to find out their experience, and really have had women say, it's too painful, I won't do that again, or I wouldn't consider doing it again. But when we look at the research around it, most of that comes from fear of having a mammogram, right? Because a lot of women have never had it before, but if they hear someone else express that they had a bad experience, it impacts them. So when I looked at a study of over 1,800 women that was done over 7 imaging centers, we found that these asymptomatic women, 85% of them had no pain at all after their mammogram was done. And then we had another 49% that may have had some mild pain, right, from that. Then another 9% that was moderate pain, but only 1% had severe pain. But when we talk about pain, pain is what the person says it is, or that's what we
It's
always
very
tell ourselves
subjective,
around pain.
right?
So it's what they believe about it, right? So
Right.
that becomes a biological thing. That becomes a psychological thing as well. That becomes, other pieces to that puzzle that we have to look at. And if they've heard or had someone else with a bad experience, they may take that on, for lack of a better way to say that. So how do we deal with that when someone has that fear of going to have a mammogram? Because again, what they believe has the most positive impact on what they're going to do next. So when we have that education for them around what that means to have a mammogram and what most women are saying about a mammogram, all of these things can have an impact. So a part of my work too is doing that culturally relevant education for people, but also making it real and fit like a glove, so to speak, for those women that are having those concerns about getting their mammogram. So we find that when we talk through it, I found also that when you're going to have that mammogram, having the right person help you, get you all lined up, right, for you to get compressed is absolutely monumental. So I believe when they have an advocate for them, whether it's our nurse navigators or our people that are reaching out, sharing their experience about what that looks like, it has a major impact on psychologically to address that fear and anxiety associated, because the studies are showing that it's not as much pain as is perceived to be, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, Dr. Anderson. I think, what you ended it up with that perception, because perception is very individualized and it is also subjective, meaning, okay, what I perceive as extremely painful could be considered no pain or mildly painful to other people. But at the same time, right, in this whole aspect of providing care, we have to be sensitive to respect the perspective of each individual patient. So thank you so much for shedding some light on that. I would go to Ms. Davis with your robust experience of 25 years, in this field of mammography. Would you please be able to share with us some common things that you've had patients and women say when it comes to mammogram experience? I'm sure you've seen a lot of repeat faces, right, over the past 25 years. So please take it on.
Thank you so much for having me. What a privilege it is to be with such a wonderful panel of expertise women. It's just wonderful. Women, they do come in and you want to greet them and let them know that you care about their health and their well-being. Just give them your compassion and gain that trust with that patient right away. That's so important. And some women come in saying, oh, I hate this and I don't want to do this. And a man had to invent this as punishment to women. You hear that 100 times a day. And I just talked to them. I'm like, well, I'm so glad you came. It was very brave of you to make your appointment and come in, because it does take courage to get an exam that you know maybe nothing about if it's their first exam. And we have to make them at ease and talk to them and just let them know that it's very short exam and it can be very fast and it can be uncomfortable for some patients. And, of course, it's according to sometimes their breast density or how thick their breast is or body habitus issues that maybe patients have that they can't do exactly what we need them to do to get into positions that are required to get 100% of the breast tissue. But most of them, if you just talk to them and welcome them, and we're so glad that you're taking care of yourself and getting the screening mammogram. And we do have interpreters even for other languages to make them feel that we do care of individualization for that patient.
That is such a great perspective. So I hear things like listening to the patient, still being there to provide a compassionate care, right? And making patients comfortable. And one thing that you said is, hey, this was invented by men to punish women. I'm like, oh my God. It's a life-saving. It is a life-saving screening modality in all, for all intents and purposes. So yes, it could have been invented by a man or a woman, regardless of the gender orientation. But this is truly a life-saving opportunity for us to be able to assess breast cancer at an early stage, right? We cannot overflog the need or the rationale behind saying early detection saves life, right? There is data out there to show that women that screen consistently are at a higher chance of being diagnosed with breast cancer at a lower stage. And when breast cancer is diagnosed at a lower stage, it increases a lot the chances of survivorship, right? The chances of cure, the chances of, shorter duration of treatment and everything in between. So thank you so much, Dr. Davis, Ms. Davis, for sharing your insight with us. Ms. Donna Franklin, I thought I had some whispers from your end. I think you are
Hopefully,
live now.
am I on now? Can you
Yes,
hear
you
me?
are. Yeah.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me, and sorry for all of the technical issues.
Not a problem at all. We technology is what it is. We just,
And
do the
that's very
best that
true.
we can to, to make it work. So I will go back and ask you the first question that I asked previously. And it is, for the knowledge and benefit of our online audience, can you please share with us how long you've been receiving mammograms and what exactly motivates you? What gives you the nudge, to say, okay, let me go get this done. Please share your insight with us, Ms. Donna.
I started having mammograms when I was 45. I'm now 65. So
20 years.
I do them religiously without fail. Um, I don't like it. I can honestly say it's a painful experience for me because I am well endowed, if you will, and there's always a tear when I come from there. But I will forego that painful process. My great aunt found out she had breast cancer when she was 80. And then we didn't know that anybody in our family had ever had it. And we don't know
Mm.
where it came from. And to get breast cancer at 80 years old is like, what?
It's like, wait, what? Where did I
Yeah,
come from?
exactly. Exactly. So that was kind of scary to get it at that age. And ever since then, well, blessings that there are no other females in our family who have been diagnosed with breast cancer, but I have three other sisters, and we all do it religiously without fail every year to make sure that we um, go get our mammogram, and we check on each other as well because I don't know. And I don't know. And I'm so, Dr. Veronica, I'm so glad that you do this and you come on our radio show to talk about all of the research that you're doing on this subject. And thank you for being a panelist. But I do have a question. it seems to me that within the last 10 years, maybe, African American women have been diagnosed with breast cancer at an alarming rate. And to me, that just seemed like it just came out of nowhere.
Absolutely, you're very right. And I mean, that is really one of the reasons behind it takes an army, behind the momentum that we are seeing today. And that is why we are really very intentional in asking those questions. Because even putting this webinar together, it really came out of what are we hearing from the community, right? To say, okay, some women have said they are not going to get mammograms again because they did have an unpleasant experience, painful experience, whatever in between. And they're like, you know what, I'm going to put it off. But thank you for sharing your personal experience to say, yes, is it painful a bit? Is it uncomfortable? Absolutely. But I have my why. And owning on to that why is really the message that we want to pass across to the women to say,
Right.
what is your why? For you, your why is yes, you did have a living aunt who was diagnosed at the age of 80. For some, it's younger, 30s, 40s. Some is even themselves being diagnosed at a late stage, almost out of nowhere. So I think the essence for us here to say is to say, okay, what is your why? Is this cancer screenable? There are so many other cancers that are non-screenable, meaning there is no screening modality for it. You don't do nothing until you have a diagnosis. So breast cancer is one of those where there is a lot of evidence around routine annual screening mammogram, to where screening mammogram does not stop the development of breast cancer. It just increases the chances of it being diagnosed at an early stage. And early diagnosis increases the chances of cure, increases the chances of treatment, and overall, it saves life. It improves the quality of life. So helping women to see things from that light would hopefully say, okay, risk versus benefit, painful, uncomfortable, whatever, the challenges might be, but at the end, we want to live longer. We want to, have a better quality of life and, have a better chance for survivorship at the end of it all. So thank you, Ms. Franklin, for sharing your insight and telling us your why. And I hope, our audience out there can, pick one or two things and we can all find our why for doing things that sometimes are not the most comfortable things to do. Awesome. I'll move along here to Ms. Weston, who is joining us as a mammographer with 5 years experience from the Rose. How would you advise a patient who is receiving mammogram for the first time? How should they prepare, right? What clothing should I wear? Should I wear a dress? Should I wear, two-piece top bottom? How should a first-time patient, what should they expect and how should they prepare, please?
So for our facility, we have a kind of like a jacket kind of a gown. So we recommend two-piece outfit. Cleaning off all deodorants, lotions, powders, kind of make sure, because it is an x-ray. If it picks up any type of substance, it can make the mammogram appear like there's something wrong when there not necessarily is. So making sure everything's all clear. And letting them know for the first time, we don't have any comparisons or anything to compare what your images are now. So the likelihood of getting called back is higher for your first time mammogram, and to kind of just give them a heads up and say, there's that possibility you can come back because we don't have anything that shows us you've had this area before.
Wow, thank you for sharing that insight. So, okay, we hear it, deodorant, makeup cream, anything that can influence the x-ray reading, just, stay away from it for a few hours so that screening mammogram can come back as accurate as possible. And also informing the patient of that chance of a recall, right? Of saying, okay, we need to do a second exam just to make sure that what we saw is actually what is there, right? It's not necessarily a cause for an alarm, but it's better safe than sorry. Let us, just bring you back to do an additional check-in. So that is great. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. Ms. Davis, I would come back to you on this one. As the way mammogram has been conducted over the past 25 years, has it changed? Right? What has changed? It's been over 2 decades, right, of you having this incredible experience. So can you share that? Because again, there are women that I have seen that have informed me, in this work that I have the privilege of doing. They're like, oh, I did my mammogram 10 years ago. It was painful, and bet me, I'm not doing it again. But hey, it is 2024. Technology has changed. Quite a few things has changed. So please share your insight with us on that.
Oh, yes. Thank goodness it's changed. From zero mammography to film screen cassettes and to 2D digital, and now, of course, digital breast tomosynthesis, which is 3D imaging. And we also do mammography with contrast, with iodine contrast, where we inject the patient and we could see enhancements that maybe we can't see because of superimposed breast tissue. So the sensitivity and specificity of our exam, meaning can we find cancer with the sensitivity? Yes, it is higher. And even specificity, saying that, yes, it's normal, we don't have to biopsy you, has gone up also. We have new tools for comfort, and Miss Donna Franklin, and I'm sorry that you said you tear with your skin, and that can happen with larger breasts. The skin does get thin underneath the breast. There are new tools to help with that now. It's like the pad, mammography pad, and or like Bella blankets that we put on the detector to reduce skin tearing from that. So I'm so sorry that has happened to you. You can maybe ask when you have your next one, do you have a pad or do you have a cover? Most facilities have them, but they can be very expensive. So some facilities can't afford them. Also, the industry has changed and come out with some curved paddles to help comfort the patient. It's curved to roundness, to morph more, say, to the breast to reduce discomfort. Also, the detectors have curves on them now on most manufacturers, to where that will reduce poking in the arm axilla on the side views, what we call MLO views, medial lateral obliques. So that can reduce discomfort in mammography. Also, they have like what they call flex or fast paddles. FAST stands for fully automated self-adjusting tilt paddles that lean forward to make the breast more uniform thickness, because 18% of all breast cancers can happen at the nipple areola complex. So that helps too, where it leans forward and can give an even spread throughout the breast. That can also increase some comfort, where it's not more pressure in the back of the breast where it's thicker compared to the front of the breast where it's thinner. So the industry has upheld improvements, and the detection is amazing with even with digital breast tomosynthesis that was approved in the United States in 2011. And to be able to help, as you say, find breast cancer at the earliest stage possible. And mammography is the gold standard for that. No other modality is that good to find breast cancer at the earliest stage possible. As mammography is, especially finding those microcalcifications that can be the start of ductal carcinoma in situ, where it's within the duct, and we can even find it at high-risk lesions. It's amazing. I have seen such an array of improvement, and I get awed. I'm like, wow, how much better can it get? And it just always impresses me with the industry and how they are trying to improve every little bit of the technology with the beautiful engineered equipment that we have.
That is awesome. Oh, wow. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, just listening here to how much things has changed, it's definitely reassuring. It's comforting too, right? when you talk about the tilting, the padding, and all those things that makes it more comfortable. And thank you for, addressing the concern that Ms. Donna Franklin brought up earlier. It also tells us as patients for us to know how to ask the questions, right? So Ms. Franklin, I'm sure the next time you go, you're going to ask them, hey, do you have the padding, right? Hey, do you have it?
That will be my first question. As a matter of fact, I go back in September and I'm going to say, do you have a padding? Okay, yes, I can't wait to ask that question. Thank you, ladies.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, that right there could even be the drawback for most women to say, hey, do you have the padding? And if you do, absolutely, please bring it on. Do you have the, do you have the curved paddle because it's more comfortable? Because again, we want to be able to support the comfort of each individual person, regardless of the size of their breast, making sure that it's not uncomfortable for some, and it's not comfortable for some and uncomfortable for most women. So thank you so much for sharing that insight, Ms. Davis. I will go to you now, again, circling back to you, Ms. Weston. In your professional perspective as a mammographer with the Rose, are there things that you say, or what are those things that you have in place that helps put your patients at ease? And I would like for you to touch on both the in-clinic aspect as well as the mobile mammogram, because, you guys have, great presence in both mobile service as well as in-clinic service. So what do you do? What do you say? How do you help reduce the anxiety level of women as they come through to receive services?
So like Ms. Davis had said in the beginning, it's letting your patients know that you're there, you comfort them, that you actually care, that they're here, and you thank them, and you're glad that they chose to come in to have this exam done, because it's very personal exam that you're having done, and it's a very vulnerable position that this woman or even man come in for. But a lot of the times I'll start off with asking them how their days are going, or just engaging them in a conversation prior to starting the exam. And then during the exam, if I see they're getting any uncomfortable, or if I ask them, okay, do you need a minute, or letting them know during that time that no matter what happens, we're here for you. As the Rose will be here for you every step of the way, no matter what happens. And in mobile community, especially now that we have our Livingston location, I believe it's in Livingston, we're reaching further out in the county for patients that don't have those access. And we're trying to work with certain places that if they do need to come back, we're letting them know, hey, we're going to help you get to this next step. That letting them know they're not forgotten, and we're happy that they've chosen to come.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to put a quick plug into our audience. I see a lot of great questions, guys, in the Q&A. Thank you, audience, for engaging with us, and we will do the best that we can to get to those questions. If there are any questions that we cannot get to because of time constraints, we will be sure to, send those questions directly to each person by email. If you are asking those questions, with your name, we will make sure that we share those questions back to you, because we want to be respectful of the time of everyone that we have on the call. I would ask Dr. Anderson. So, we've talked a bit about, all these, pleasant experience, not so pleasant experience. So what advice would you give to a woman who has had an unpleasant experience, during a mammogram?
Absolutely. I would first look at, when are you scheduling your mammogram? Because one of the things we want to look at is, when is your menstruation? Most women can understand that you get pretty tender, when you're menstruating. So if it's around that time, it's probably going to be more painful anyway, right? So we want to wait at least a week after your last period, so that can help you with some of the tenderness for sure. One of the other things that can be done is to take some Tylenol, maybe an hour hour before you come in to get you that relief that you might have. And I'm a very big advocate again on who my technician is, because when the lady comes behind me and is so assuring and fits me in, it puts me at ease. So I feel like if you talk to your technician and let them know about the fear that you're having, I haven't seen one of them yet who wouldn't be accommodating to that. I really believe that they will accommodate you in that. But also, you want to make sure that you are taking a deep breath to relieve the anxiety that you might be having, right? And surround yourself for sure with women who have had a positive experience, still staying on that anxiety to put yourself at ease. I will agree with you, Dr. Veronica, that when they go in there as well, looking at your why. So that was one of the things I had on my list. Why? We know that when early detection saves lives, right? Your why. We know that we want to live a longer life to be here with our families. We know that if we take care of ourselves, it's going to make the difference in our lives. And we do this for everything else. If you look at taking care of yourself first, you can be better prepared to take care of those things you need to take care of in the future. And so I think some of those tips can be helpful, but always reach out to your nursing care, your hospital care team, as well as your nurse navigators, and we'll do everything we can to support you in your journey.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Dr. Anderson. I have one last round of questions for our panelists. Hopefully we can get through it as quickly as possible. Ms. Davis, so I have questions about ultrasound versus mammogram. Is it different? Is it the same thing, right? What's the difference in between a breast ultrasound and a mammogram when it comes to the test procedure itself?
Yeah, that's a great question. Mammography is an X-ray, so you do get radiation, but the radiation is very regulated by MQSA, which is Mammography Quality Standards Act. So it's very low. That's why women can come back every single year and get a mammogram, because the dose is so regulated with the equipment. And it can even, be lowered with compression and different devices that we have. And it can see small calcifications and lesions and masses and architectural distortions. Ultrasound uses ultrasound waves. It is not radiation. Ultrasound is used better for masses or nodules, what they call. They have a very, very hard time seeing small microcalcifications. And ultrasound is very technologist dependent, meaning they can create something on the image that's not real, or they can miss something on the image that is real just by moving their wand or how they press down and using their buttons on their machine. Compared to X-ray, X-ray pretty much tells the truth, what's on there. But of course, positioning is very important, because if you do not get 100% of the breast within 2 views, the radiologist can't see something that's not on there if the technologist is not performing a good mammography. And unfortunately, there's still some poor mammography being done in the United States. That's why the laws are changing. They came out with a law called EQIP, which stands for Enhancing Quality Using Inspection Program, where the yearly inspector from MQSA asks questions if you have certain programs in your facility to make sure that your technologists are doing good, high quality imaging. And then of course, by law, you must be accredited by an accreditation body like the ACR, where they check on you once every 3 years with 8 attributes of your images. So mammography, yes, it can be discomforting, and it is very quick, and most insurances cover it. And also to the great programs that y'all are talking about at MD Anderson, we also have mobile mammography, where we go out and be able to help the community. I've been on the mobile for 20 some years it's just wonderful to meet the people that are maybe underserved, that don't have the means or be able to travel to the medical centers or other places. They don't have the means, or babysitters, or they have a lack a lack of things that's really sad. So we're so glad to be able to go out into the communities to be able to help with that. But yeah, mammography definitely is still the #1 gold standard to find breast cancer at the earliest stage possible, with the beautiful detail that we can see with the contrast and spreading that tissue so we can see in between the structures of the breast anatomy to be able to find abnormalities for the patients to be able to have less treatment, maybe not even have to have chemo. We can find it early enough where it hasn't gone to the lymph nodes, because, chemo can be detrimental to some people, with problems that can arise taking chemo. And then, of course,
Absolutely.
radiation and surgery, different types of surgeries, because you want to have good cosmetic results. That's just as important to the patient as not having cancer, having good cosmetic results to have that feminism to stay with that patient.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you for sharing your great insights, Ms. Davis. Very much appreciated. Ms. Weston, this is my last question for you. And I know we kind of talked about it here and there, but I would like for you to shed some light on the size of the breast, right? So does the procedure, is it the same, for small versus, medium versus, heavier breasts? And is there a way to prepare if I am a smaller breast individual versus a bigger breast woman?
So in terms of the actual imaging, there's not much difference. However, like Ms. Franklin had said, some of our larger breasted patients do have those tears. So we're very careful when we do, because when we do our medial lateral oblique or MLO view, we do have to pull kind of at the breast. So we visualize and we verify with the breast and looking at it first, and verifying we don't pull or tear further. And we also have the information, if we do see those tears, for them to take home to try and help kind of heal that area as well. The smaller versus larger, in the terms of if it's like more painful, a lot of the pain comes from breast density and how much breast density you have in there. If you have more dense breast tissue, or basically just tissue that's clumped up together, it can be a little bit more of a tender exam versus a patient that has a completely fatty breast. But it's all dependent on the patient. If they're more relaxed versus if they're more tense, it can also contribute to that pain. But again, if they're a first-time mammography patient, then it's already an uncomfortable experience. They're already tense. So that's why you try and get them relaxed and calm and comfortable with you as a tech.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing those tips with us. Ms. Franklin, the last question for you. So what advice do you have for a woman who has not yet prioritized their annual mammogram? You've told us your why. And for some, they still don't have the why, right? Maybe they don't have a family history. They just don't see why. And they just kind of put it off because there are other conflicting priorities. So what advice would you have for such ladies to just kind of help motivate to prioritize receiving annual mammograms?
You just have to look around and understand that our world is changing rapidly. As far as women of color, our struggles continue even more so now, today. So we have to do everything possible that we can to make sure that we take care of ourselves. Um, I, in the last 10 years, I know so many women who have had mastectomies due to breast cancer. And I don't know what it is about the African American community, but it's growing at a rapid pace. And just take care of yourself, because you only have that one body. Just take care of it.
Thank you. That is such a powerful closing statement. You have just one body. There's only one of you, right? Even artificial intelligence, as
Yeah.
smart as whatever it is, you cannot clone yourself. You can see it in movies. This is not sci-fi, but for you, you have just one of yourself. So again, making that time to prioritize self-care, prioritizing the opportunity to receive screening. And I know that even for some, maybe finances, maybe convenience, maybe, you know, there are barriers and challenges in between. And that is why we have this amazing program again at Texas Southern University, funded by CPRIT, where we will come to you. We, you know, partner with the Rose, we partner with MD Anderson, providing no-cost mammogram on mobile units, you know, in different aspects of the city, to be able to empower women to receive this life-saving screening, again, knowing that early detection saves lives. And I do want to say big thank you to all the audience. I mean, right now we have 12 questions, right, that we can all see. But again, these questions are very, very important. But if we stay to answer those questions, we're going to be here for another hour. But this is what we're going to do, okay? Everyone that has joined us on Zoom, we have your emails. We will take time to answer these questions correctly, and we will email these questions, you know, anonymously without disclosing anybody's name. So every person would receive a compiled answer to all the questions in an email within the next week or two, because I want to be very respectful of the time of our audience as well as of the expert panel that has joined us this afternoon. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Anderson, Ms. Weston, Ms. Fuller, Ms. Donna Franklin, Ms. Davis. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us this afternoon. I feel more educated, you know, about this topic, because there were things that I did not know before that I have come to understand, you know, from just, you know, moderating this session and having this really free-flowing conversation alongside each of you. I'm just going to take the next few minutes to go over some closeout announcements, you know, for us from Texas Southern University. But again, on behalf of myself and our entire team from TSU, I want to say a big thank you to you all for joining us for this amazing free-flowing conversation. I would begin again to share my screen here. Let me just pull up my slide. Okay, here it is. All right, and I'll put it on presentation mode. Okay, all right. So I'm going to just make some announcements about some upcoming events that we have at TSU. We do have a lot of opportunities to engage on diverse health-related topics. These flyers are in PDF format. You can find them in the link that is being posted in the chat box. So if you would like to get more information about these flyers, you can find them under our link tree that is being posted in the chat box. But we're excited again to share that next month, under the umbrella of the Community Engagement Core, we will be discussing technology, artificial intelligence, and data in healthcare. And here I come again asking the question, what do I need to know as a community member, right? When you all hear AI, when we hear technology, when we hear about data, the question that comes to mind as a community individual is, what do I need to know? So this event is a free event. It's open to the public. We will be providing lunch. It's going to be on Thursday, June 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We are partnering with Houston Methodist Hospital. They will be bringing in a couple of technology, you know, that will be happening on TSU campus to kind of do some form of show and tell, have our community members actually experience, you know, some of this innovative breakthrough technology coming through the healthcare system. So feel free to join us. If your time allows, it will be both in person as well as online on June 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Next, the next event that we have, again, under the Community Engagement Core, is going to be in July. July, August is back to school, right? So we're also doing the best we can to make sure that our children and the whole family is healthy and ready to go back to school fully immunized. So we will be having our immunization education and outreach event. This is going to happen on Saturday, July 27th, 2024 from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. For this particular event, we have secured several mobile units that will be providing a lot of no-cost health services, including immunization for adults, school-age children, as well as mobile mammogram that will be provided on that day in partnership with MD Anderson, and so many other health-related services. So feel free to join us, scan the QR code to pre-register, to join us either in person to receive clinical services, or if you just want to listen to the education, then you can join us on Zoom for that event. The next one I want to also talk about briefly is prostate cancer. We have spent the past hour talking about breast cancer, right? Looking at the number for African-American women. Prostate cancer is also another concerning health topic for African-American men. So we will be having our third annual Let's Talk About Prostate Cancer Conference. So please save the date. This is going to be on Saturday, September 14th, 2024, by God's grace. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This event is again free to the public. It is open to everyone to join us either in person or online. And we will be providing lunch alongside all the great panel and experts that will be joining us for the Prostate Cancer Conference in September. And guess what? October, that's when we really paint it pink, right? Anyone that was part of, anybody that has been with TSU for some time might remember that last year we had a really successful event titled We Roar Against Breast Cancer, and we will be doing it again this year by God's grace. This is going to be on the campus of Texas Southern University. We will have a lot of mobile units providing breast cancer screening, as well as other clinical services, all at no cost to community members. Lunch will be provided, and we will be focusing on breast cancer. You know, it is October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we would like to invite you to save the date, join us both in person as well as online as your schedule allows. Then again, I would be making another announcement regarding our surveys. Like I mentioned earlier, we are grant funded, received funding from CPRIT, the Cancer Prevention Research Institute of Texas. So please, your feedback is very important to us. Feel free to complete our survey. And for all the CHWs that have joined us for today's session, for you to receive your CE credits, please, we ask that you complete the form, the CHW sign-in form and evaluation. All of this information is found in the link that is posted in the chat box, or you can scan the QR code on your screen, whatever is convenient for you. Also, within that link, you would have access to a lot of resources and additional services that we provide at Texas Southern University's programs. Once again, this is Texas Southern University Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center. And we offer convenient, no-cost screening and diagnostic services to ethnic minority women who are either uninsured or underinsured, living in Aris, Grimes, Matagorda, Walker, and Wharton County. We provide patient navigation and barrier reduction services to enable women receive their screening at no cost. We also provide breast cancer awareness and education, just like we are doing right now. To learn more about us, again, the QR code is right there on the screen, the same link being posted in the chat box, or you can give us a call, you can send us an email, whatever is more convenient for you. And I want to say a big thank you to the entire team members at Texas Southern University. I have the privilege of being the principal investigator and the program director for this initiative, working alongside Dr. Nkechi Ogbo, who is our pharmacist for health equity and community engagement, as well as Olanike Shamunda, who is our graduate assistant, who is supporting us, you know, with day-to-day program management. We are blessed with amazing patient navigators, Christoph Villagers, who is at Houston Methodist Hospital, as well as Dolores, who is with us at TSU, you know, supporting all these women walking them all through the entire process of scheduling, appointment reminders, and everything in between. A big thank you to Monique from Methodist Hospital, as well as Dr. Pauline Niravat, who is our oncologist from Houston Methodist Hospital. And to all our interns, volunteers, everyone that has supported us and has continued to support us in this, in implementing the work that we do. It truly takes a village, like you guys can imagine. And just again, expressing gratitude to everybody for supporting us in this initiative. Of course, without the support of the leadership of Texas Southern University, all this work would not be as efficient as we've been able to implement. So a big thank you to the leadership of TSU, to VP Penn Marshall, Dr. Monica Olale, to our Dean Musavin, and to the entire leadership of the university. I would also want to say a big thank you to our production team. Sometimes you tend to forget the technical team, ensuring that the audio, video, and everything in between is running smoothly. Thank you, Constellation X, for supporting this initiative and for helping us walk through all the technology requirements for the successful implementation of our program. Well, again, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We look forward to you engaging with us, in all our future events. I will stop sharing my screen here. And I want to say thank you again to all the audience. Thank you for all your great questions. Please forgive me. We cannot answer all those questions right here, right now. But within the next week or two, we would engage with our panelists to make sure that we have the appropriate response to all these questions, and we will be sharing our responses by email. So thank you to the audience for joining us. Thank you, amazing panelists. You guys have been awesome, and we will be in touch in the near future. Thank you, everybody, and have a great one. Bye. Thank you.